Hello, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us or me. This is Helen with ADU1, also Balcony 1, Retrofit 1. We are part of One Structural. So these are all of our divisions to help your building. Today, we will be doing another city spotlight for Santa Clarita, California. Santa Clarita right now, in case you're joining from my flyer, it is, relatively speaking, a little bit more affordable than the rest of Los Angeles. Clean, beautiful, a lot of brand new areas and subdivisions and everything like that. Has an array of real estate from apartments and affordable housing to multi-million-dollar homes with acres and views. And Santa Clarita has everything: stores, restaurants, Six Flags, whatever you need, it is there. So we will be going over the ADU rules for Santa Clarita. Even if you do not have a building in Santa Clarita, it's okay. Most of the rules still apply to you, so you will still learn basically most, or if not all, of what you need to know that affects your property. So I'm going to just directly share my screen for the exact ordinance from Santa Clarita, which was developed, I believe, around April of last year. So here we go. Let me see, share screen. And here we are. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this. Yes, I'm just checking, and I will try to zoom a little. Oh, good, I can even increase the font size. So hopefully that is clear for everybody. And I forgot to mention, if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'll possibly check periodically while I'm sharing my screen, otherwise I will see them afterwards. So, okay. The ordinance for Santa Clarita can be found, can be found on their planning page. It is, the Santa-Clarita.com, their planning division page. And then you will be able to find the accessory dwelling units. Let me just go back and find it. When I enlarged the font, it threw me off. So let's see. Okay, these are for accessory buildings. Accessory dwelling units. So here we go. So I will go over, as always, if you've already tuned in to some of my webinars before, I will be discussing both single-family homes and multifamily properties. We are multifamily specialists, so we serve mainly apartment buildings, HOA communities, complexes, but we also serve single-family homes as well. We're just very familiar with the multifamily rules and everything that goes with it. So Santa Clarita, California, the ADUs, it lets you know, at least down here, these are the zones that you are permitted to do. So if your property is zoned to allow single family or multifamily dwelling residential or proposed residential, including these zones, then you are good to go for ADUs. Other properties or other cities, as well, pretty much the same. Allowed in any zone that allows residential, mixed use, typically speaking, as long as there is an existing residential property there, that's what will pertain to which rules, or which rules pertain to your property is what's already existing. I think it was Fullerton, maybe, that was one of the only ones that it's up to the zone rather than what's there. So if you have a single family home, like an R2 or R3, you're actually allowed to do the multifamily ADUs. But anyways, that's on Fullerton. Maybe I will do a presentation on Fullerton later on if I haven't already. So anyways, Santa Clarita. Let's see. I'm just trying to skim through to really the important pieces that we should know. Okay, here, size. So this goes for attached. The minimum size is 150 square feet, 1,000 square feet for maximum square footage. So this basically applies to, let's say you have a single family home and you are doing new construction and attaching it to the existing construction. You are permitted up to 1,000 square feet or 50% of the size of the home, whichever is less. So if you have a 1,500 square foot house and you want to do new construction and attach it to the home, your max is 750 square feet. If you have a 3,000 square foot home, the max you can do for attached is 1,000 square feet. So let's see. You can ignore this part because this is just what the 1 bedrooms are capped at. I always go for just what's the maximum, because if you're doing 1,000 square feet, we most likely wouldn't be doing a 1 bedroom. I mean, if you wanted to, then you would be capped at 850, but normally the 1,000 is at least 2 bedrooms, if not 3. You do have a height limit of 16 feet with the typical 4-foot side and rear setbacks. If you are doing detached new construction, same rules apply, minimum 150, and really you can just skip to this maximum, which is 1,000 square feet for ADUs with 2 or more bedrooms. We have yet to have any customer that wants to do 1,000 square feet with just 1 bedroom, so that's why I'm skipping over the 850 square foot part. It's not worth it investment wise. And let's see. There is no size requirement if you are converting an existing structure. And normally, as long as this structure is a legal permitted structure, then there's no size requirement. And they're just saying you cannot change it or expand it more than 150 square feet. And usually that's only for ingress and egress purposes if you needed to change it. But they don't want you really changing or expanding a converted existing structure that you plan to convert. JADUs, it's saying that we'll get into it later. And as always, I think it's safe to assume that Santa Clarita's JADUs are the same rules as always, which is a maximum of 500 square feet, has to be part of your existing home, and it's only permitted for single-family properties. Junior ADUs are not allowed in any city for multifamily properties. So we get that question a lot, that if they think it's just a smaller ADU, it is, but it's only permitted for single-family homes. Multifamily cannot. And again, you're maxed out at 500 square feet. So then it's also saying these certain lots, and again, this is something that looks very specific to Santa Clarita. So these specific zones may exceed the size limits, but they do, you do have to go through separate approval. Let's see. And then all other zones must follow this. So if you have a property in one of these lots like NU4 and you want a larger ADU, you might be permitted. However, you do have to go through a different approval process with the city, which we can help you with as well if you qualify. Let's see. So for conversions, no new setbacks are needed, but all new construction must conform to 4 feet side and rear. So that means the new construction, whatever we're building, has to be 4 feet away from your side property lines and your rear property lines. And they still also adopt the 16-foot height limit. Except, of course, it's a conversion from a legal existing structure. If it's already there and it's higher, then you are permitted to use that height. Let's see. The same with the parking. You don't really have to worry about the 1 parking spot if you meet these exemptions, which is if your building or home is within a half mile of public transit, you do not have to add any parking. And if you are converting a garage or carport for the purpose of an ADU, you do not have to replace that parking. Architecturally speaking, as usual, they want it to be compatible with the existing home or building, which we will always design to be cohesive. Let's see. In some cases, then they may make you apply the rear yard coverage requirements, but that will vary per property and per zone. Let's see. There is a 6 feet building separation required. So let's say you have a home, a house, or a building with a backyard or lot, and you want to build a new construction ADU. Whether you are a single family home or a multifamily home, not only do you have to be 4 feet away from your side and rear property lines, you also have to maintain a 6-foot building separation from the primary building. And normally it's from also any accessory structure on the property. So consider this: you have a house or a building, backyard, rear property line. Mentally subtract 10 feet to know at least what your length would be of the ADU. 6 feet from the main building, 4 feet from the rear property line, and then mentally subtract 8 feet from, I guess, the width or length, whichever direction your ADU is facing. But 8 feet for side and side, 10 feet from building to rear. And that's your buildable space, except of course, if your rear yard coverage also kicks in and you have to maybe keep 20% of the rear yard open or whatever it is, we will help you calculate what your buildable space is. No fire sprinklers will be required if it's not required in your primary building. Cannot be rented less than 30 days. So unfortunately, like short-term rentals are not permitted for any ADU. This is across the state. Let's see. So mainly the ADU laws were updated, amended, and created, these new ones in 2020. So what they did, part of the changes was eliminate a lot of those owner occupancy requirements. The ADUs may have had some owner occupancy requirements. However, up until 2025, you're okay. If you do an ADU for investment purposes, if you buy a rental property and put an ADU, the owner does not have to live there. However, Santa Clarita is also saying if you get this, if you even submit the application after January 1st, 2025, you may have to do owner occupancy. Of course, we don't know what the state will do, prior to January 1, 2025, if they're going to renew this. I think it's kind of a testing period for the whole state to see how much it really helps the housing increase initiative. But if they do not continue with these ADUs allowances, then after 2025, you will be required to live in the property. Let's see. As of now, for across the state, though, junior ADUs do still have the owner occupancy requirement. So just as mentioned before, if you have a junior ADU, which again has to be part of your main home, only allowed for single family properties limited to 500 square feet or less, across the state, there is an owner occupancy requirement. So the owner has to live in either the house or the junior ADU. Let's see. Oak trees. I guess there is an oak tree preservation ordinance in Santa Clarita, which is nice. So you do have to preserve your oak trees on your property. Let's see. Okay, maybe this is where they're getting into it. So the number of ADUs that you can do. For single family homes, you can do one ADU, whether that's attached, converted, or detached. Technically, you can also do a second one, which is now where your junior ADUs come into play. So single family homes can do one ADU and one junior ADU, but keep in mind that if you do a junior ADU, the owner has to live, again, in the house or the junior ADU. And let's see. So you are permitted to do them. And here is where it does say, yes, a junior ADU maximum 500 square feet or less. Has to have their own independent exterior access. So that is the only time for single family homes where you can do two. If you don't live in it, or you don't have the space to even do the junior ADU, then you can still only do one ADU no matter what configuration or type it is. So here is where we get into multifamily properties. So the biggest difference with Santa Clarita, although it's not that different anymore because this has kind of been the norm lately, Santa Clarita for multifamily properties makes you choose one of the two configurations, which are the attached or detached. And in multifamily language, attached really only means internal conversions. So you can do either internal conversions of existing space or detached ADUs. So for multifamily properties, so this is duplexes all the way up to X amount of units, infinite amount of units. You can do at least one, which really means, duplexes to 7 units. If you have a storage room, as part of the main building, storage, tuck under parking, an attached garage, rec room, game room, basement, something like that. Duplex to 7 units, you can convert that space into at least one ADU. If you have 8 units, 8, 9, 10, 11, then you can convert those spaces up to 2 ADUs, and so forth. So that's where this 25% rule kicks in, and it takes effect after 8 units and up. 20 units will have its own 5 that it can do, and so forth. And again, they are only permitted to do internal conversions, and here's where it describes them: storage rooms, boiler rooms, passageways, attics, basements, garages. If you do have a boiler room or a basement, just keep in mind, if it has, all of your electrical in it, if the basement is only 5 feet high, that may pose some problems if we're unable to, excavate a little to increase the ceiling height, or if you just have tons of water heaters and pumps and pipes in the way. Technically it's doable, but that will be very expensive to move all of that. And then you also have to make sure you have the room to relocate it. So the space has to be the right fit. But if the rental income is going to make up for relocating all those parts, then it could easily be worth it. And we're also licensed plumbers, so we can handle those things in-house right away. And it is clarifying that detached carports or garages are not considered under this attached. Those are detached, period. Some areas such as Culver City, for example, which I was surprised to hear, a detached garage, they're still considering under that 25% rule, which is pretty new to me. I've never heard that since it's detached from the building. But in this case, it's nice that they clarified that even if it's a conversion, if it's detached, it's not part of your 25% rule. For detached ADUs, you can have no more than 2, so up to 2. And again, you can only pick one. You still have to have your 4-foot side and rear setbacks, which still apply to both single family and multifamily. 16-foot height limit. Open space may still apply, and so forth. And then here's something a lot of cities say. So multiple detached dwelling units. Sometimes these are called, multiple single family units or single family homes, or just individual units that are all detached from each other. Even if you have a bunch of those on a property, they are still treated as single family residences, at least for the purpose of ADUs. So you would only be allowed one. And in that case too, they are not, even though it's under the single family rules for ADUs, you cannot put a JADU on a property such as that. Okay, and this is nice that they do give some incentives for affordable housing. Apparently you will be eligible for a fee waiver if you have if your unit is designated for very low or low incomes. That's really nice. So yes, so that is about it. Let me stop sharing. So that's mainly the rules for Santa Clarita, but honestly, most of those apply to everywhere. The only one I saw that's different is maybe specific to those zones that can go higher, although I actually see that in a bunch of cities too, that there are special reviews if you do want your ADU larger than the state's max of 1,200 square feet. So it really depends on your city. But Santa Clarita, that's what you're allowed. Again, pick one or the other between attached or detached for multifamily properties. Single families, you can do one unless you also want to do the junior ADU and you live on the property. So that covers it for the ADUs. I will now briefly go over Senate Bills 326 and Senate Bill 721. Sorry, I don't have any share screen or anything, so I will just verbally describe them. So these were passed, I believe, in 2019. They're basically the balcony inspection law. So if you've heard of balcony inspections, balcony repairs, this applies to condo owners with balconies or stairways, catwalks. So all condo owners that have these elements that I'll describe, and all apartment buildings in the state of California with 3 or more units. What you have to do basically is every 6 years, get your exterior elevated elements, E cubed is that, I think, to the 3rd power, your E cubed, I hope I'm saying that right, inspected. I haven't taken those classes in a very long time. But anyways, you have to get your exterior elevated elements inspected. So this includes exterior balconies, walkways, stairways, catwalks. And what we recently clarified that even if you have a recessed balcony or the balcony isn't protruding out of the building, you still have to get those handrails inspected, which makes sense. You don't want the handrail elements to to have water damage or something like that, and the tenant or resident falls. So you have to get those inspected every 6 years. The next deadline, I believe, is January 1st, 2025. Although for certain buildings, especially up north, I think the counties or cities are sending notices now to get them inspected. And if you can visually see water damage, cracks, or any issues, it's highly recommended to at least get those inspected right away. If you do see this damage, because you will be very liable if anything happens to the residents or your tenants and you know about these requirements. So you have to get those inspected. And again, it's mainly to check for any water damage, the structural components, to make sure they're all structurally sound, no dry rot, any of the flashings don't have any moisture or any damage to them at all, because that could cause the balconies and the walkways, the catwalks to collapse. So you do have to get those inspected. And if there are any repairs needed, that will be noted in your report. But if it's anything significant, like a huge hazard, something catastrophic could happen, we would have to let you know. We would have to get you your report within 15 days, I believe, so you can take care of that right away. However, the timeline is much longer if you don't need repairs at all, or if there isn't, a catastrophic imminent danger going on for your tenants. So that's basically what the bill says. So our division, I think our logo's right there, Balcony 1 handles all of those, your balcony inspections and repairs per Senate Bill 326 and Senate Bill 721. So give us a call. I forgot to put our banner here, but our balcony number is fairly easy, so I'll put that right away. But honestly, we're all the same company, so you can call any of the numbers and reach any of our divisions. So you can call 323 balcony if you just want balconies. If you want seismic retrofitting, ADUs, or balconies or anything, you can reach us at 866 new ADU1, which I believe is 866-639-2381. So that about does it for our Santa Clarita ADU City Spotlight and our balcony discussion. So give us a call for any services. We provide all of the engineering that you need, structural engineering, architectural design, permit expediting with the city. Our ADUs come with all your finishes, floors, cabinets, counters, everything like that. So we give you a turnkey finished product. We can also help legalize unpermitted dwelling units too. We do seismic retrofitting. You can do that at the same time as your ADUs. If you've already retrofitted, it's okay. You can still put ADUs. And of course, we specialize in balcony inspections and repairs. So thank you everybody so much. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thanks everybody. Bye.